Absolute Wonder Woman was raised in a place a touch hotter than Themyscira, and you are not going to believe her origin story. What's up, Variant Nation? DC's All-In Initiative is in full swing, and that includes the unveiling of the Absolute Universe with completely new and wild takes on key DC heroes and villains. Absolute Batman kicked things off a couple of weeks ago with Absolute Wonder Woman next at bat, and let me tell you something. This version of Diana is the Princess of Hell. Literally. Wonder Woman issue 1 starts off with 2 news reporters on a balcony scared to death at the fact that they're looking at an unidentified flying object. One of the reporters then gets up enough courage to stand and start reporting on it as he says, "We're here just beyond the Gateway City boardwalk filming from an unsecured location to bring you the sight of a literal unidentified flying object on our doorstep. Local police and a growing military force are evacuating the immediate," but before he can finish his sentence, creatures start flying out of the upside down floating pyramid. Then on the next page we see Absolute Wonder Woman for the first time flying on the skeleton of a Pegasus, a dark Pegasus you might call it. She then pulls out her gigantic sword and starts taking down a bunch of these flying creatures. And as she's flying around hacking these demons apart, captions tell us, once upon a time there was a princess, and the princess had all the gifts any princess could hope to have: beauty, grace, compassion, kindness, and wisdom. We then see Absolute Wonder Woman use her iconic bracelet energy blast on the creatures, annihilating dozens of them. Captions then continue to tell us this princess had the ability to outrun a hellhound and conjure the darkest of magics, things every princess needs when she was raised in hell. The book then flashes back 2 years in the past to the wild Isle of Hell, prison of the great sorceress Circe. We then see Circe saying to herself, "Once I ruled a remote paradise called Aea. Now I am a prisoner of a solitary wasteland. Never let it be said that the gods do not have a sharp sense of humor." But all of a sudden, Apollo appears saying, "Come forward, witch. You may kneel." But Circe responds by saying, "I'm fine." Apollo then tells her, "Defiant even in hell. Perhaps that is what got you here." He then hands her a baby saying, "This is yours now." She holds up the baby girl and asks, "Why have you brought a baby to hell?" He tells her, "This baby is Diana, Princess of Themyscira. She is the last of the Amazons, and she has been taken from them by my father Zeus as punishment for their crimes against the gods. Her home is now hell, and you are her warden. She may never again be reunited with her Amazon sisters, and they will be imprisoned for eternity when their service to my father ends." Which seems like a bit of a contradiction considering he started by telling her she's the last of the Amazons. So how could she be reunited with people that no longer exist? Anyway, he goes on to say, "You may never say the word Amazon again." Circe then thinks to herself, he's trying to hide it, but he's afraid of her. Why? As Apollo yells, "From here on, the word Amazon is banned, so I decree. Try it for me, Circe. Try to say the word, I want to see." She then obliges and tries, but can't say it. So please, Apollo then goes to leave, but she asks, "This is hell. What if it dies?" But Apollo just responds by saying, "The gods care not. This is where she belongs now, for however long she is." So Circe just puts the baby down and doesn't care if she dies or not. At this point, she basically takes the position of, "I'm no mother, and since I wasn't tasked with keeping her alive, this will just take care of itself, I suppose." But as Circe is leaving her there, a poisonous snake crawls up to Diana looking to take a bite. A still suspicious Circe says to herself, "Perhaps the gods are not so willing to leave things to chance. Can't say I care that much, but will the gods send one thing after another to kill the child until it's done? If they do, she's doomed whether I take interest or not." But as Circe is saying all of this to herself, Diana just grabs the snake by the head, coos at it, and then chucks it, which, as you might imagine, really impresses Circe. From here we see a little fire lizard come up to Diana and blow fire on her, but it doesn't faze her. So she just picks up the lizard and pets it before letting it go. Little moments like this cause Circe to fall in love with Diana over time, and she becomes a mother to her, raising her as her own. We then see captions of Circe's thoughts tell us, "Plenty of things tried to kill her, yes, but there was no overwhelming force of creatures bent on her destruction as I feared, and she had a quality that softened even the most treacherous beast." And I don't just mean all the little creatures and demons and lost souls that drifted to her. How do you fall in love with a child? It's by raising it. Now, as the issue goes on, we see Circe and Diana have built a home for themselves in hell, which is odd to say. But what was once just an ordinary mud cave is now a cave with beds, candles, a bookcase full of books, carpets, plants, and even a makeshift kitchen. Circe effectively made it a place to raise a child where a family can live. She even teaches Diana magic, and as Diana grows, we see their home looking more and more like an actual apartment. And as the panels roll on, we see Diana continue to grow in the art of magic and as a warrior. At one point, we even see Diana capture and defeat a hellhound, the same creatures we saw flying at the beginning of the issue. She then asks her mother, where did it come from? They rarely appear on the island this time of year. Circe just responds, I don't know. We then see narration from Circe saying, raising a child is how you fall in love, but letting them go is how you prove your love. As we then flash forward again back to the present. We then see Wonder Woman land on the ground telling Pegasus to guard the perimeter. She walks up to the soldier and asks, are you in charge here, soldier? And this dude's completely baffled and unable to respond, so she just says, that's a no. Where's your superior? She says, you should evacuate all civilians within a mile. He starts to contradict, but she interrupts saying, they are not dead, they are only stunned. And they're not what's coming. They are the harbingers for what is to come. Wonder Woman then hears a sound and looks behind her saying, we're out of time. Evacuate your civilians and bring your army. Run. At this point, we see the huge upside-down pyramid birth a massive monster. Absolute Wonder Woman walks up to it saying, you are not welcome, Harbinger Prime. This world will defend itself. I stand before you with the mystical Athena blade, forged by Hephaestus himself. It is more than capable of sending you back to your maker. Go back to wherever you came from and tell whoever you herald that you were mistaken. This world is protected. A clearly defiant Harbinger Prime then says, but it's not, as it opens its mouth, releasing a shockwave. Wonder Woman deflects the blast as Pegasus comes to her aid, blasting fire at the Harbinger's head while Wonder Woman tries to use her magic on the beast. But the Harbinger retaliates, blasting her with laser eyes. Harbinger Prime then tells his minions to rise, sow chaos, and prepare the way. We then see all the Harbingers she took down rise once more as he says, you stand, we are not amused. We warned you. She dodges and blocks his laser eyes with her bracelets, but ultimately the beast blasts her, knocking her down as the comic takes us back to the past. In this flashback, we are returned to Hell where we see Wonder Woman talking to her mother saying, I must ask you about this word again. A word she saw when she was a kid. Circe says, I thought you might. Diana responds, it's important and I'm afraid. But Circe tells Diana, my girl fears so little, with Diana responding, but I am afraid. So Circe responds, you're not afraid of a word, you're afraid of the change it will bring. Diana then responds to her mother by saying, how can I know a word without having ever heard it? How can it be in my chest so powerfully without knowing what it means? At this point, Circe tells her, say the word, Diana, say it, and know it is what you are. Then as Diana looks up at her mom, grabbing her hand, she says, Amazon. We then flash forward to the present yet again where Diana is battling Harbinger Prime, and we see her remembering when her mother told her what the word Amazon means. Remember, Circe can't say the word, so she simply told Diana, it is who you are. You are an Amazon, but Diana has no idea what that word means, so she asks her, what was that? Circe then explains, when Apollo first brought you to me, he banned me from ever again saying that word. Diana then asks the obvious, why would they do that? With her mother responding, why indeed, my darling girl? Essentially, as the conversation goes on, Diana just wonders why they don't want her to know she's an Amazon. Clearly, she's a threat to them in some way, something that will be revealed later on, but not in this issue. Anyway, Wonder Woman then gets back up on her feet saying, Amazon. As Harbinger Prime says, away, warrior, you are beaten. Leave us. We must prepare the way. The world is ours now. But Wonder Woman responds, no. The beast continues to say, we will continue to hurt you if you insist. To which Diana says, I insist. We then see further narration from Circe saying, how you prove your love is by setting your child free and arming her to the teeth with the greatest weapons imaginable, and watching her become everything she was meant to become, watching her change the world. And as we're reading this, Wonder Woman flies into the air holding a demonic-looking lasso, and Diana says to the beast, for I am Diana of Themyscira, last of the Amazons, daughter of Circe, princess of Hell, witch of the Wild Isle, and you will not have this world while I still draw breath. And with that, Absolute Wonder Woman issue 1 comes to a close. I gotta say, this is a fantastic start to an alternate version of Wonder Woman and a completely wild take on this character. So far, we are loving the fact that she was cast out of Themyscira. We don't fully know why yet, but because of this, she was raised by Circe and taught magic, transforming Diana of Themyscira into the Witch of the Wild Isle and the Princess of Hell. At this point, I am beyond curious to find out what the rest of her origin story is, including what the Amazons did to offend the gods so badly that they were banished, and why they're so terrified of Diana. I also cannot wait to see the full extent of her powers because we saw her use magic here pretty briefly, and it was pretty insane. But also, that lasso does not look like the traditional lasso of truth, so I want to find out more about that. It's red and presumably created in Hell, which leads to the obvious question of what does this lasso do? I don't think it's going to be the same as the lasso of truth, I can tell you that. Anyway, just like with Absolute Batman, we are absolutely digging what they're doing with this version of Wonder Woman. There is a lot to play with here, and her backstory is very, very cool. I imagine she's going to to have a bunch more crazy abilities revealed as the series goes on, because remember, her mother told us, "I armed her to the teeth with the greatest weapons imaginable." And we've already seen a couple of these weapons with the Athena blade and now this red lasso. So again, in summary, what we have here is a Wonder Woman who has been raised in hell with magical abilities and all sorts of crazy weapons, all while still remaining an Amazon. And now with both Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Batman out in the universe, I am so insanely excited to see what they do with Absolute Superman. I also can't wait to see how this continues to unfold in issue 2 of Absolute Wonder Woman. But what did you guys think of this issue? Did you dig it? Are you liking the direction they're taking with Absolute Wonder Woman? Let us know down in the comments. Other than that, we will see you next time when we talk about all things comics.